The Finance Agents marketing system is built on relationships. Building and developing strong, successful funding partnerships is the key to succeeding in our industry. Today we're joined by Jason Edwards, president of Capwell Funding, who's going to tell us everything he knows about developing successful funding partnerships. He's a great guy to listen to. He has a lot of excellent experience, and you're going to love it. All right, let's do this. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Finance Agents Live. This is episode number 97. Very exciting show for us because we're creeping up on, not because Jason's here, I mean, we're excited for Jason being here too, but we're creeping up on show 100. Stick with us because we're almost there, almost 2 years in the making, coming up on show 100. Excited about that. But today is going to be an amazing show. If you're in this business, then you know what's most important is building long-lasting relationships so you can get those funding referrals and make money and help people. We have the king of that on the show today, Jason Edwards, literally the best person I've ever worked with for building, I mean, I'm not just shining him on, the reality is, best person I've ever worked with for building long-term, lasting, good, successful funding relationships. So you're going to get a lot out of this week's show. I am glad that you're here. Pull out some popcorn or something, I don't know, whatever you do. While you're doing this, eat some lunch, right? Jim Felt, he likes to eat lunch while he's watching. And get in and soak it up. Jason's going to tell us the 3 C's of developing funding partnerships. All right, before we get started, let's talk about the next 3 weeks since we're creeping up on show 100. Next week, I am going to be gone. One of the great things about being in this business is you can make some money and take a vacation. So I'm going to be in Costa Rica enjoying not working. So Trey is going to be on for the next 2, maybe the next 3 weeks, I don't know. But next week is going to be Trey and surprise guest, talking about personal term loans. Maybe Darren, maybe somebody, I don't know. Surprise guest will be whoever Trey calls 5 minutes before the show. That's what I like to do. So next week is going to be personal term loans. Those have been super popular. We've had people getting funding in as little as 3 to 5 days. I think we had somebody get it. Maybe a couple $100,000 recently, so you can get a lot of money for that. Awesome program. Come check it out. You're going to like it. The next week after that, Trey's going to be in, and we're going to be talking about business development, which is the other side of what we're going to be talking to Jason about today. Jason's really good at maintaining and nurturing and succeeding in long-term partnerships. Trey and I are going to be talking about how to start them up, how to find them to begin with, because that's a whole different skill set of its own. And some people are good at finding them and not nurturing them, so we'll talk about that a little bit today and in 2 weeks. That's true. Then after that, show 100. I have no idea what we're going to do, but we're going to try to make it epic. I don't know. We had goats once. Maybe we'll bring in horses or
just
cows.
Don't jump the shark. Just don't jump the shark.
Have you ever seen cow yoga? No. Something. I don't know. Whatever. We're going to do something. I have no idea what it is, but I'm going to try to surprise myself and hopefully make it interesting. Trey really wants you to be on the show. Darren, make sure you get in that screen, that shot up there. You got some. I'm having fun with pictures today. If you hadn't noticed, I had some good shots of Jason. Now Trey.
Is that up there right now?
This is Trey. Oh yeah, this is Trey really wanting you to be on his shows over the next 2 weeks. If you like the picture, put something in the comments. Trey would love to hear how this is. I think a birthday shot of his. This is what he does on his birthday. He walks around like that.
That's a pageant shot.
Very good, right? I've always wondered. Photographers make you do some weird shots. I think I had a high school senior shot where, you ever feel weird in the photographer?
Like Napoleon Dynamite. Right?
From what I understand, this was all Trey's.
That was all Trey's idea?
All
okay.
Trey.
All right, well, perfect. Anyway, enjoy that.
All Trey every day.
But remember, we're here every week on Wednesday, live at noon. Even if I'm not here, like next week, I'll be in Costa Rica, and you will still be able to be here enjoying the awesomeness, which is Trey and personal term loans. All right, if you're new to the show or you haven't subscribed yet, dang it, subscribe so that we know you're actually watching. It makes us feel good at night. With that said, let's jump into the show. Let's start off with a big hello to Jason Edwards. Jason, thank you for coming to the show. Today we're going to do 3 things. You're going to meet Jason Edwards, the man, the myth,
dude,
the legend. Jason is going to educate you on the 3 C's of building successful, long-term, lasting, profitable, amazing relationships. And we'll talk about some successes and failures. I didn't tell him we're going to put that in the show, so we'll see exactly what happens. You have time for questions and answers at the end, or anytime you want. We got some people coming on. Andy, hello, says screenshot. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but hello, screenshot. Frank says, hello, Trey. Yeah, I won the prize of Costa Rica. Thanks for pointing that out. I gave myself a prize of going to Costa Rica. Looking forward to that.
You won your own offer?
I won my own offer. I've made my own offer to myself, and I'm taking it. So, all right, well, let's get into this. I've been talking the whole time. Let's meet Jason. Jason, why don't you tell him a little bit about you?
No, thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, our pleasure, Frank's pleasure.
I appreciate that over-the-top intro and amazing endorsement.
No exaggeration, by the way.
I actually just got lucky. I think the show's over.
Let's walk out. George Costanza, go home.
I'm on a high. No, thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
We're one of the managing partners at Capwell Funding, and we do the unsecured and then the 401k rollover programs. We really kind of just keep it to those two, and we act more as a fulfillment house. We don't really market to the end user or the actual borrower or client. Our clients we see are more of our partners, our referral partners who send us those customers. And that's, I think, that little paradigm shift and where we really focus on is our referral partners. That doesn't mean we underserve the customer. We really try to be all about quality all the time, but that's pretty much how we operate. We're not really doing big marketing campaigns. We're just building and maintaining relationships.
You're just raking in money.
Yeah. Hand over fist.
All right, so a little bit of background. If you didn't read the email that we sent out, how do I know, Jason? Finance agents, the finance agent system, marketing system, member office, everything was developed while we were at Finance Store, our prior company that won Inc. 500 3 years in a row, did over $100 million of funding in 1 year. We had a lot of success there, and that's where Finance Agents comes from. Jason was our director of marketing at Finance Store. So he gets credit for a lot of the success we had with marketing and with growing the system. So thank you for that. But before that, why don't you tell everybody how you got into the funding business?
Wow. It goes way back. I was actually involved with businessfinance.com when it was, firing on all cylinders. And
businessfinance.com. That was when the internet was born, basically, right?
Yeah, that goes way back. So I really got in on more of the web, software, more of that type of marketing. We developed a platform for business credit building that was pretty successful for a while there. And
it was everywhere, by the way. It was a reseller platform, so there were at least 100 different companies that were selling your business credit building software system. So that is what you were maintaining, and by extension helping tons of people build their business credit.
Right, and so I was more in the affiliate revenue, back-end stuff, software development, and then that morphed or evolved into, really being in the trenches with the funding, working direct with clients, working direct with partners, and that was happening while I was at Finance Store, and then ultimately, ended up being Capwell Funding was the iteration I'm in right now, and we really are a funding shop for small businesses. We obviously work with a ton of startups, so.
That's right. So you're a startup man. So yeah, we were with Finance Store. When Finance Store split up, we tried to hold on to Jason, but it's like holding on to, just
the wind.
Yeah, he was gone and started his own company. But some of the stuff you're doing there, you learned from we developed working together. Right?
Absolutely.
So
no, I've benefited greatly from my time at Finance Store, and I'm still, leveraging and using the resources that they developed there. So. What I'm really trying to say is just use other people's good ideas and you'll be successful.
Right, so if you're watching this and you're a member office, he doesn't have a member office with us, but some of the things he's doing are the same stuff that we have our member offices do, right? And some of the marketing things that you would be doing as a member office, we learned from Jason. So that's why it's super relevant, everything that he's talking about. And building relationships, that is the finance agent system, right? Our marketing system that we use, if you're watching this, you probably already signed up as a finance agent. That system is a relationship system. People only refer leads to us if they believe in that relationship. And if you're running a member office, your relationships are your finance agents that are bringing you business. So if you really want those to be successful, in general, there's two kinds. There's the individual agents that are out there hustling on the street, and then there's the business development relationships. Which do you feel is more important for Capwell right now? Individual referral parties, or larger companies that can send you a volume of business?
The latter, and that's just because it's really worked for us. And obviously, anything I'm going to be talking about today is because it worked for me, and I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's a surefire way for every single person, but I at least want to share what I've seen work and some things that haven't.
I was kind of hoping you'd talk about stuff that hasn't worked for you.
Yeah,
Stuff you've never done, maybe.
All I
Stuff
do is win.
Something
so
you've never tried.
I'm sorry, Tim. I can't help you. Just tiger blood flowing through this body.
All right, cool. Hey, some more people joined the show. Eugene, Cynthia, Schroeder Solutions, Steve Hoffman, Stan. Welcome, everybody, to the show. Remember, if you guys have questions for Jason, don't wait to the end. Feel free to throw it in now. If you've ever had any struggles or what hasn't worked for you with relationships, Jason's the man to ask, so feel free to throw it in at any time. All right, so now we're going to start digging into the secret of success, which Jason has distilled into the 3 C's of funding relationships. So what do we got here? Here's the first C. Here's the second C.
Whoa.
And there's the third. That's it. Show's over. Let's go.
The suspense is killing me.
I accidentally left the actions.
I say it looks like you guys are passing. C's are passing, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
This is average. This is average.
Right. Just kind of do medium.
That's
how you
average
succeed.
presentation.
Is be medium. All right. Okay. So the first one, charisma. What the heck is that? And does that mean that boring people can't succeed in funding relationships?
Not at all. And it's kind of misleading to say charisma, but I came up with that term because I've actually...
Because it starts with a C?
Yes, I had to have a C. But you really do want to take another approach to charisma and kind of blow up the definition that we all maybe carry around. It's just like the standard in society where charisma is just for game show hosts and people that fit a really narrow definition. But
people on Finance Agents Live.
That's only us. No, but anyone can exercise charisma. And
yeah, what do you mean by charisma? If you're watching this and you want to have successful relationships, what do you need to do to use charisma to be successful?
I think it's just an approach to your engagement with people. And obviously, everyone's got a different personality. Everyone's got a different energy level. You want to keep your energy as high as you can without maybe betraying yourself. And then you want to take kind of that Dale Carnegie approach is what I do of, how to win friends and, what is that one?
How to win friends and influence people.
Yeah. It's just, and it also kind of, I was going to maybe talk about this more under communication, the story brand approach too, but basically you're making them feel important as much as possible. It's not all about you and how much you can talk about how amazing you are. It's how amazing are they and how you can get them to talk about that. And obviously you don't want to discount yourself. You want to still be able to present the quality and the services and everything that differentiates you. But it's just kind of more of an approach. And so you come across charismatic if they can hear a smile over the phone, if you sound genuinely interested in their life and their success, that's charisma. Again, it's not like maybe the superficial definition you would think of. And I think there's more to unpack there, but that's kind of just the general approach.
All right, so what I'm getting from this is that the part of charisma that matters is connecting with another person and giving them what they want.
Yes.
The key to charisma is coming across as being somebody that they want to talk to, which means you care about them and their needs. And so by focusing on their needs, you're going to end up getting what you want. But if you don't start by delivering to their needs, you have no charisma.
Right, and I like a sub-C on this C-centered presentation.
Let's square that C.
Care, because you said care. And I
Uh-huh.
remembered when I was even coaching flag football with
charisma.
Yeah, thanks. What I really found out about coaching that worked is that if the kids believed I cared, and I think this just goes into leadership and then folds into charisma, is that people believe you really care about their success or them to obviously a reasonable degree, then they're going to respond the best way possible to that. If they really believe you, if they don't think you're fake, and they also obviously come across disinterested. I know everyone has a different approach. I'm only talking about my approach. Some people kind of doing maybe the power moves and making them seem more desirable by being a jerk works for some people. I don't know, but that's not my approach.
All right, so you got to trick them into thinking you care. That's what you're saying?
There you go.
Just kidding. All right, actually caring is the easiest way to convince them that you care. So that sounds like a great thing. Now, if you're watching this and the other side of charisma is being personable or interesting,
Sure.
and you're not necessarily sure how to do that, there's a book out there called The Charisma Myth, which basically says that anybody can have and exhibit charisma. So feel free to check that out for further reading.
Yeah.
But in the
good.
end, the key to charisma is connecting with their needs first, and then by extension, getting to yours. All right, we got some questions coming in. Let's see here. How do your referral partners work? And I think what they're saying is, can you give a little color on how exactly it's structured?
Because a big portion of our business is the unsecured program, so that's credit-based, and that I really try to make it as simple as possible and remove as many barriers to getting going with a partner. It really is a simple matter of them getting the credit report of their client over to us so that we can review it. Or it might be for the 401k program, getting us a 401k or IRA statement so that we can review it. So we always start off being, again, this goes back to supporting the partner. We're kind of their pre-qual engine or their review engine in the background that they can leverage. And then when that client is ready to move forward, if they pre-qualify, then they would introduce them to us, or they would be able to, walk them up to our processing stage, if you will.
Right, so you don't even talk to the client until you already know they're qualified. That's an awesome way to start a relationship. It cuts out a lot of the wasted time on trying to help people that you just can't help.
So our partners are the upfront filter really for us.
Okay, awesome. All right, so the first C is charisma. The second C, I'm going to have to click a bunch of times, because what's the second C?
Communication. No one's ever heard of this.
Communication?
Yeah, that's an abused term, but it's so critical. It really is.
How much communication? I mean, how much do you got to talk to these people?
You can over-communicate, obviously, but I think most of the time everyone is prone to under-communicate. So I think you should put yourself in check on that. And like little things that I do in my communication is because a lot of these days you're relegated, or you find that you're communicating via email a lot more than on the phone, and that makes more sense. It's more efficient, time-wise. So I really do put a lot into my emails. I try to have a quality email. Anyone that I'm sending, sometimes it's just a quick line, but I always try to almost have a friendly tone to it. Even if I end up having a partner that likes text, I try not to do that too much. I actually put a little bit of time into my emails and my texts. I make sure that if I get caught in a thread with them on the email, that I change the subject line so that it's relevant to what that particular email is. Because then you go looking for one later, because I do a lot of organization through my inbox and whatnot, so I have folders, and that's kind of where my hub. But I really think taking a little extra time in those digital communications and how you word it, not a bunch of run-ons, not a bunch of crappy spelling, have some of that, whatever you can, a little bit of a friendly tone when you can, inject it into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
I really think because you're going to be doing so much, don't take it for granted. That's a powerful way to maintain a positive relationship with someone, since you're going to be using that type of communication so much. That's just one example.
Yeah, and there's a balance there, right? So make sure you don't spend forever and create the too long didn't read emails either. So it's, I think what Mark Twain had a quote that I love, where he said, "I didn't have time to send you a short letter, so I sent you a long one." Right?
Yeah,
so
right.
By taking the time, you're able to condense it and make sure that it makes sense when you send it. But I had a partner that I work with, and every time I would communicate, to send him an email or something, he would always respond amazingly within 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know how he does it. I know when I get some emails sent to me, I don't know what the heck to answer. I got to go research, and then if I respond and I'm going to look at it, I may forget. So this is a hard thing to do. You got to be able to follow up effectively, because when you don't, people get offended, and you burn relationships really quickly. You can work with somebody for a year, and one bad email series can ruin the relationship and encourage them to go work with somebody else.
Yeah.
So maintaining a relationship is a real skill. All right, Darren's got a question.
Yeah, I've got a question. All right, so this goes to how you write the email. Are you using verbal text that you would use in a conversational messaging, or are you using messaging that you would see in a book or a novel, those sorts of things?
That's a really good question. So, for me, it's
Old
about
English.
Yeah, thys and thee, thou. So, no, I try not to be over formal, and I think that's where a lot of my success in my just relationship building is that I must manage to find a good balance between formal and informal. so that it's not too sloppy and too over personable, but it's also not like too rigid and distanced. Like you got to be connected. You have to be accessible. So I just make sure that I'm sending a quality email with spelling, and I'm making sure that I'm really, I'll take another look at it to ensure that it's clear. The message I'm trying to get across is just clear. But I also, make it friendly and make it personable. And I do try to get, to a point with my partners where I know what's going on in their lives, not in a meddling or prying way. And I'll even throw that in an email sometimes, like, how's it going with that?
You Instagram stalk them is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I always stay on top of all their feeds. But no, that's a really good question. So it's definitely, I probably tend a little more towards informal, but I try it to be a quality communication.
Yeah, one of the things you can take away from this is that the key or the core part of it is a relationship with the person first. And then you build the business relationship on top of that. That way, if the business relationship sours, as can happen sometimes for things that are completely out of your control, you're going to end up maintaining that relationship, and you can have a business relationship with them in the future if things change, right? Let's say the company you're at, the program changes that they wanted, they find a competitor which has got a better solution for a time. Great. Well, they're going to go away, but they remember that they liked you. And then a year later, that other partner blows up, they come back, and you don't.
Yeah.
So the relationship first, business part of the relationship second.
Let me mention something under communication I wanted to touch on is, have you heard of Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller?
Nope.
Okay. Totally recommend that if any of you want that as a read or a resource. There is actually a marketing firm that was born out of that book. And it's called Story Brand, I think. But basically, the whole approach to marketing and how you would approach the relationships, I've kind of touched on this already, is your referral source, your partner, is actually the hero in the story. And so taking a story brand approach to your relationships is, we all are kind of like the protagonist in our own life story. And it might be tempting to extol the virtues of how great you are or what you're going to do for them, but really what I've found more successful is shifting it to where they're the hero. Make them the hero of this little story that you got with them. And I think that's been really helpful for me, that particular approach.
You're the hero in my story.
Dang it, man.
Right? That's why you're here.
You're my hero too.
All right, moving on to the third C. So we got charisma, check. Communication, check. And the last C, who wants to take a guess at the C? Let's hang out a little bit. Let's have some guesses. Who can guess what the third C is? Because you can't see it yet, so I'm just going to wait.
Cliffhanger.
Let's talk about things. While we're waiting
Coffee.
for people to...
The
coffee.
third C is coffee.
It's coffee.
Thank you.
Lots and lots of coffee.
Maybe that's
or caffeine.
That's
caffeine.
the
caffeine.
Coke works too. Caffeine.
Caffeine and coffee. That's definitely, those are a couple C's in my book. Yeah. Let's see. Some people are talking on here. Frank says, don't type in all caps when you're emailing people.
Good one.
I agree. Right? That's what all caps kind of
Really?
comes across.
That's a thing?
All right. Let's see. Curtis says the third C is close the business. That's kind of like the Glenn Ross. He means close the sale, right?
ABCs.
The always be closing. That's good. I like that one. We says caring. All right, so we got charisma, communication, caring potentially, also very important. Cynthia says commitment. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. The C word.
Ooh, maybe we should have went with that one.
Commitment. That's good. Confidence. Awesome. Hey, man. Maybe we needed 7 C's because you guys are coming up with some good ones here. But I'm going to shatter the mystery. The third C, and I believe in this 100% above all the other things, is, Jason?
Consistency.
Consistency. Very good. CTA.
Culture.
Very good.
What's
We can
CTA?
read.
What's CTA mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. Culture, concern, all very good. Anyway, consistency. Talk about consistency. Why is consistency the third C?
Well, all 3 C's have connective tissue, so they all work off each other, and it's consistency in your communication and consistency in even your engagement. So you don't want to, like I said before, appear fake. You want to be genuine in all of your interactions with your partners. You want to be consistent. You don't want stresses of what's going on in that day to really come through. So it's the interpersonal consistency, and then obviously consistency on how you do business. So don't change the deal. Don't suddenly shift gears on them. If you establish a certain understanding up front, you need to reinforce that. And I think what comes out of consistency is processes and not overdo it. Like, I try to give flexibility for our partners to operate within our processes. I don't like to seem bureaucratic or like you're at the DMV now, you got to do it our way or leave. But at the same time, you need to have some level of process that you can continue to reinforce with the partner so that everything's more efficient and smooth. And I think they really end up appreciating that more than anything, is they can count on you personally, how you're going to respond to them, and your processes are going to always be the same. And they can count on that. And it doesn't add another layer of stress because, things could change week to week.
Yeah, that's an awesome one, man. And this is probably one of the ones that's harder for me because in our world things change a lot, and you want to be stable and consistent for those relationships. And without that, you got people looking around. So, very good.
Create processes.
Good.
I mean, our CRM has been critical for us, but
So flexible yet consistent processes.
yeah,
Consistently flexible.
consistently flexible.
That doesn't make much sense, but you get the idea. It all comes with starting out with a framework that can work for a variety of scenarios while delivering a consistent result. Anyway, sounds very good. All right, we got some other good ones, by the way. Call to action, they thought was
CTA,
a good
that's right.
C.
Yeah.
Collaborate, I'm liking that one.
Yeah.
All right.
They all spoke off of each other, so yeah.
All right, now I put a section in here called...
I personally like Steve Hoffman's reply there.
What's that?
Chicago Transit Authority.
Yeah, well, he was telling us what CTA stood for.
I swear by the Chicago Transit Authority.
They will keep a relationship going.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Just read their manual and you'll win.
Fall asleep.
Yeah.
All right, it's cool. So I got war stories. I don't know if we have any. Biggest blow up. Let's talk about it. This is a relationship blow up. This is kind of a sensitive thing to talk about. So I don't know. I don't even know if you can say, right? Have you had any big relationship blows? Let's talk about, have you had some that you tried to consummate that just didn't happen, and why? Can you think of any examples?
Yeah, gosh, I'm sorry. I really needed to think about this before I came in.
Should have prepped. All right, let's go ahead, because I didn't... Any surprises? Now that you've been in the funding business, not necessarily in regards to relationships, but just surprises in being in the funding business over the years.
You mean sorry.
Anything. What have been your biggest surprises?
The biggest surprise, because we really do live and die by our partners. We're not doing direct to end user campaigns. So that's kind of where I live. Is the biggest surprises are your initial perception of a partner that you think is going to be awesome, but they end up being a dud, or the ones that you don't think are going to be great. And so, don't judge a book. It's also protecting your time, though. So you don't want to waste too much time on someone that maybe does check a lot of the red flag boxes, or it doesn't seem like they're going to be a producer. But I've had ones that really came through. That shame on me. I had maybe a poor perception of them early on, and then I've had ones that I thought were just gonna. Their charisma was strong up front with me, and what I thought I was working with just didn't end up. It was crickets.
Here's an interesting question. Have you had anybody come in strong, talking about how they're going to send a ton of business and how awesome they are? Have you ever had any of those that actually ended up working?
No.
Right? So maybe
they build into it over time. So that you almost have to be wary of the person that comes in just with, huge promises, big numbers. That person I would definitely tread lightly with.
I have never had look, I've been doing this for, 11, 12 years now. Never had a single person who came and said, we can right now start sending you 10 to 20 clients a month, who actually sent 10 to 20 fundable clients in a month. I've seen plenty of leads of people that didn't qualify. That's probably the most frequent. So real true success takes time. You got to build into it. Real relationships take time.
They do.
And when you say this, it makes me think, I remember I had a guy that I hired, one of the first early people that I hired, a 1099 remote guy. And when I talked to him on the phone, he sounded like he was just depressed. And I was like, this is not going anywhere. I almost didn't work with him. And then when I started working with him, he ended up being one of the best guys I ever worked with. Yeah. So yeah, you really can't know. I guess I'm sort of realizing on the show, the more they tell you they're going to do, the less likely you're going to be able to pull that thing together. But the more likely you're going to run around, spin your wheels, try to do all this stuff, go tell everybody, we got to get ready for 80 deals a month.
Right.
And nothing happens, and that's no fun.
Yeah, so it's just finding that balance in how you enter into new relationships, but ones that are going to truly produce. Because what's more important to me isn't volume, it's a consistent quality relationship. I don't care if we only get 1 or 2 fundings done a month, but if it's close to monthly and I can count on that, that is worth its weight in gold. It's not, I'm going to, you better get ready.
Vomit deals on here.
Here comes the class 5. I don't know.
What's a class?
Was that, I've had
Was that like a
I had a
earthquake?
twang there. I don't know.
Like a tornado. Okay. All right. Cool.
That was more like a river.
Is there a class 5 river? Oh,
It's
like
a river of leaves.
Whitewater.
They're just gonna like.
Yeah, the fire hose. Here
Yeah.
comes the fire hose.
Yep.
All right. Okay, cool. So that is awesome. I think we have time for a question and answer. And I see one of the questions somebody's asking, who are your partners? And one of the things, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there, that when you have big successful partnerships, you really don't want to go on YouTube and talk about them.
No.
Right? You could talk about the concepts and everything behind them, but you don't want to say something's going to make them mad. You never know what that's going to be. So he's not going to directly answer that question. But if you want to speak generally about the type of relationships that you see being the most beneficial, or what you can say, go for it. Anything
Yeah,
you-
I think the ones that work best have the reciprocity, where they exercise the 3 C's back, and that's going to obviously have the staying power, and where you're not having to do all the heavy lifting, but you've got to definitely and continually invest your time. So just like with any relationship, with marriage, with everything, even when you don't feel like it, you've got to invest.
Got to do the dishes.
Yeah, you got to do the dishes, and that goes
Got
for
to pick up your socks.
these relationships. I've definitely had some really rough seasons and rough patches with partners I still have to this day who are a massive part of our revenue. But you got to hang in there with it, and you have to continually refresh and reinvest in that relationship.
Right, just like any relationship, if you start off a relationship and it's really uneven, like great for you, horrible for them, or maybe just great for you and just okay for them, probably not going to last, because it may work for a little bit and it'll be awesome while it does, but it's going to go away because it's not going to weather the first storm that they hit. They hit a bump, they're going to find somebody else to work with.
Right.
The relationship is really the key, and it's easy to damage. So,
And the real marriage happens after the honeymoon. So we always have a honeymoon period where everyone's excited and we're going to do great business together. And
we put a form on their site.
yes, that's huge. But
And
you
then
know,
it isn't until you
the real
actually-
work is after
Right.
all the warm fuzzies, and you've got to get down in the trenches with them, and hopefully, the flywheel starts really turning, and you get that momentum that sticks.
It's real easy to go into a prospective partnership and say, we're going to make you so much money, we're going to do a ton of deals with all this stuff, it's going to be amazing. It's easy to say that and start the relationship, but it's real hard to deliver. So I put a lot of work into trying to tamper the expectations. In fact, I've had a lot of conversations with prospective partners who they left thinking it's going to be amazing, and me telling them, it's probably not going to be that great, right? It's going to take a little while, and I feel like it's better to sort of overachieve what you say than the opposite. That's a good way to lay a groundwork for a good long-term relationship.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Darren, you got a question.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. There we go. Turn my microphone back on. So actually, I was just going to point out something. Both of you have read Seth Godin, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the books. Have you ever read The Dip?
Yes,
So,
but
what,
it was a long time ago.
So what you were just talking about, and with relationships, in that particular book, he's talking about just like life in general, but in the case that you're dealing with certain relationships, there is going to be that period where you're going to have to work hard, and you have to decide whether it's going to be worthwhile to push through all the way to the end to get to that revenue, to get to that excellent relationship, or if you need to cut ties. And that's really the art of those relationship building, is knowing when you should just cut bait,
Sure.
or if you're really going to push forward and fight for that person or that group.
And I
Okay.
think it's important that, there's mutual respect and everyone values each other's time, because if a partner perceives that, they are the hero and I just give, and it really diminishes the value of my time, then that's not good for the relationship. And we're not going to get anywhere on a long-term basis if we don't have a mutual respect. And I just try to be as honest about even my personal life without revealing too much, but I just try to be accessible. And I know a decent amount about my good partners' lives. Again, not in a meddling or a prying way, but it's okay, because it's that caring part. It's that relatable. And even as long as you're giving quality service with good follow-up and communication, that in this field, in this industry, that's massive. You can even be a little more expensive than someone else, whatever that translates to, but a solid relationship they'll stay with you.
Right.
So
yeah, it's long-term, steady relationship building, which is not necessarily fireworks and explosions. It's more steady, consistent delivery on your promises and showing that you're a person of your word. That's how you get long-term relationships. And that's one of the things Jason does really well, which is why he's had so many long-term, successful working partnerships. All right, with that, it looks like we got one last question. Cynthia's asking, how do referral partners find you? And I think this is a little bit going into how do you find new partnerships? How do you do business development? And this is something that Trey and I are going to talk about extensively in 2 weeks. But maybe the short version is, how do you go about finding your partnerships? What's your key to the ones that you have right now?
you want me to answer that?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to save it for another time.
But just the short version.
If you really are investing properly in whatever is in front of you, then I'm not saying that you don't have to go out and develop or biz dev, but more will come just from referring. And I know some partners are like, they want to keep you to themselves and they don't want to share, but I found some of my best partnerships came because an existing partner really endorsed us, and they found out that way. I didn't really have to go get it. It's just really putting in the investment on the ones I have, the ones that are in front of me. So yeah, I don't think I would be actually the best guest to go over how to go get new partners. I just, I've been in the industry a long time, and just intersecting and, coming across people and re-coming across people, it's stuck, and here I am. I really don't have, for each of my partners, there's almost like a different story behind each one, how I ended up with them.
Right, so the key there is you don't actually need that many partnerships.
No.
What you do is you need to invest the time into making that partnership a success. If you find that you're in a situation where you keep bringing on new prospective partnerships, sounds exciting, ends up being nothing, maybe you need to stop prospecting new partnerships and really dig into surviving the dip, as Darren was talking about. The dip talks about how you have some initial success, and then you go through like a redevelopment in order to get the real big potential success. And if you're dying in the dip, then maybe you need to double down on the right relationships instead of just finding new ones. And okay, great. All right, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the show. Oh, I had some questions, but whatever.
Oh yeah, my blow-ups and my failures.
Big thank you, Jason. I just had one last little thing. So I said I was having fun with pictures today. Jason really connects with people. Here he is connecting with his brother-in-law.
Over-connecting. I wonder if Justin's watching. Anyway.
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I just had to get on. Anyway, thank you, Jason, for coming on the show. I wanted to give one last little punishment for being here.
Pleasure.
Don't forget, come back next week, live at noon, for Trey and surprise guest, talk about personal term loans. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. Look forward to doing a lot more deals together.